Well, I'm joined by the undisputed 140-pound champion of the world. You probably never tire of hearing that, Chantelle, eh?
No, I never gets tiring. That doesn't. It always got a good ring to it.
When you look back on that fight in November against Jessica McCaskill, what are your memories?
Just the whole experience, being out in Abu Dhabi. What a trip that was! I think that's always going to be a special place in my heart now because it's such a beautiful people, beautiful country, and just the moment it's going to last a lifetime now, and that can never be taken away from me. So yeah, just it's always a special place now, and obviously the fight as well. It wasn't the cleanest fight, but that was because of my opponent. It was quite tricky to have a clean fight with someone so unorthodox, but I done what I had to do on the night, and I got the win.
I remember talking to you afterwards, and it was a rough, tough night. Those 10 2-minute rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just she's just so unorthodox. It was just didn't know what was happening. It was just a very strange start. It was a strange fight, and you want to have a clean, tidy boxing fight for the fans and that. But if your opponent's all over the place, then you just got to do what you got to do to win. And in the end, that's what it comes down to. I just have to do what I have to do.
Yeah, it was a rough battle, but as you say, you came out of it with the unanimous decision. Look, in the last 24, 36 hours, obviously the news that Amanda Serrano is injured, isn't going to face Katie Taylor in Ireland, scheduled originally for Croke Park, then the Three Arena in Dublin. But it still looks like it's going ahead on May 20th. Katie Taylor put out that she could fight you, and you immediately responded, I think, with comments out there that you would take the fight on. Has it moved on in the last couple of days at all?
No, not really. Not that I've heard of. Hopefully, like I said, it's 24 hours. This fight can be made. It's that simple. I kind of had offers of like before what was put out. Last couple of weeks, I was having offers to fight in September, so it was already like getting things moving, but for later on in the year, and I agreed to everything there. So for May, it's exactly the same. It's straightforward. I've agreed to what they was going to offer for September, so I can't see why it's not moving forward now. Like I'm ready to sign. Katie clearly wants to fight me, and Katie deserves a homecoming. What she's done for women's boxing, and all of us, none of us would be in the position we're in if it wasn't for Katie and Clarissa, and she does deserve the homecoming against me, against whoever, but she deserves it. And at the end of the day, she wants to fight me, and I'm willing to fight her. Then let's make it happen.
So just to clarify, initially you were going to fight her in September.
There was talks, yeah, but nothing was concrete. Stop boxing, talking's cheap. Like talking doesn't mean anything. So I was kind of saying, well, I want it written down so that I know it's going to happen. If it's written down, it's going to feel a bit more concrete. And then out of the blue, Thursday, Katie done that Instagram, and I was kind of like, well, Katie clearly wants it. So, like, what's going on?
So behind the scenes, the teams haven't actually begun talking yet. It's just been a public pronouncement that you both like to fight each other in May.
No, so I got straight onto my team and was like, look, get on to this now, because that's a massive statement what Katie's done. Katie doesn't shout anyone out. She doesn't need to shout anyone out. She's one of the boxers that she doesn't need to post on social media. She doesn't need to mouth off. Like, she just goes about her business in the ring. So the fact that she put something out there clearly must mean she's a bit frustrated with something. I don't know. But she clearly wants to fight as much as me. So I got straight onto my team and was like, make this happen. I was meant to be fighting April the 1st, but I've been my contract anyway. So I've not signed that. My opponent's been last minute anyway. Like, I think any champion should at least deserve 8 weeks notice of any opponent, because at the end of the day, you've done all the hard work. Why risk everything for shortness of time? And I'm never complacent, so I don't want a 4-week notice opponent where I'm not prepared like I would for a proper camp. So I think I deserve as well a full camp with plenty of notice on my opponent. So I weren't keen on April the 1st anyway, because it was all up in the air. there was so many different names thrown in to fight. People weren't wanting to fight me, and then about Nottingham show, I was told, "Oh, right, we've got someone," and I was like, "Right, sound. I'll fight her." Before all this Katie Taylor talk was happening, and then I still not signed the contract, so I'm still like, let's just scrap April the 1st and let's just go for the big fight. Me and Katie, we're both undisputed champions. We're both undefeated. It's the biggest fight you can make. Why put me in April the 1st for a fight that doesn't make sense? It's all the risk but no reward.
Do you feel you carry advantages into this fight, being, you know, from a weight division above, and your style against her, that you will want to take it to her, and that if you can draw Katie into a battle, that's when she's looked, in the sense, more vulnerable in some of her fights?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Katie Taylor, she's a legend. She's a great fighter, great boxer. It's always going to be a tough fight. I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, it's an easy fight, because I'd be lying. I'd be lying to myself. I'd be lying to everyone. It's a hard fight. It'll be the hardest test that I've ever had. But then, as a fighter, what is the point trying to call myself an undisputed world champion but not fighting the best? And Katie Taylor is the best. So if I want to leave boxing saying I beat the best, I challenge the best, then it's a fight I've got to take. But yeah, there's definitely, I'm definitely confident, put it that way. There's a lot of things that I feel confident in against fighting Katie Taylor. But regardless of that, it's everyone wants to fight Katie because she's known as the best, and I want to be known as the best. I want to be remembered as the best, and I want to make my own legacy, and that means beating Katie Taylor.
Yeah, when you talk about legacy, I'm just looking back, you know, when you turned pro in May 2017 against Karina Kapinska, did you believe then, back in 2017, even though, you know, women's boxing was beginning to cut a new swathe in a new age, did you believe, we talk about legacy here, that it would have come this far so quickly, in a sense? If it does feel quickly.
No, it doesn't. It feels like it's been a lifetime. Definitely feels like it's been a lifetime. I think never expected to become a world champion. I definitely didn't expect to become undisputed, and I kind of felt that me and Kate was never going to cross paths.
Yeah.
My whole career, it's always been. I've always felt like my career has been. It's always been aimed around Katie Taylor, and it looks like I've been chasing Katie Taylor. Whereas if people actually know me, know that I haven't chased that fight. I've wanted the fight. And everything that's been asked of me to get the fight is, Chantelle, become a world champion, you'll fight Katie. Chantelle, you need to raise your profile, you fight Katie. Chantelle, become undisputed, you fight Katie. That's all I've ever had, and I've come through all of that. And I was still like, I'm not going to fight her because I've never even had the offer. But now the offer has been mentioned, and Katie put that out there. It's kind of like, it's got to happen. If it doesn't happen, then yeah, a lot of questions should be answered, because the fact that me and Katie have both willingly and openly said to everyone and publicly put it out there, we want to fight. If the fight doesn't happen, then it's kind of like, who doesn't want this fight? And
yeah, why wouldn't it happen? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you think it's going to be another stellar year for women's boxing? It seems to be on the up and up. There's about 20, maybe even 30 of you now in the women's kind of section of boxing that are creating bigger names all the time. There's more interest, and you know, at the end of the day, the majority of boxing fans are men, but there's more men wanting to watch women's boxing.
Yeah, I think it's because the women that want to fight each other, the best wants to fight the best. Yeah, Clarissa and Savannah, Amanda and Katie, them sort of fights are making it massive for women's boxing, and that's why them fights need to happen. So even Michaela and Alicia, like, they should have the rematch because it was such a good fight anyway. It was controversial, and I think if they had the rematch, it's the eyes are on the sport. And I think Jessica against whoever, like, people want to see them big fights and the big names challenge each other, instead of people becoming a world champion and kind of babysitting their belt, making sure that they stay world champion by having easy fights. That's not good for women's boxing or boxing in general. I think if you're going to become a world champion, then make sure you be a proper champion and face your challenges and face your threats.
Just to go back on one thing you were saying just now about you never thought you'd be a world champion way back when, or an undisputed champion. Can you clarify that? Because is it that you're just very realistic about everything's fight by fight, or has your ambition grown as you've gone along? Because clearly, every time you step in there, it's so clear what your aspirations are. Where did that kind of, not a lack of self-belief, but where did that come from that you didn't think you would get there?
I don't think it was my ability. I always felt like I was capable of showing people that I'm champion level and I'm world class level. But I just think I've never had it easy in boxing. I've never been given a handout. I've always done it the proper way and hard way, and I'm proud of that as well. Now I'm in this position, I know that I've never had anything given to me. I've done it all the hard way. So it was kind of like there's been so many ups and downs in my career where I kind of was like, I'm not going to get the opportunity because I just felt like I was always kind of overlooked and pushed on a kind of thing. But I think I just stayed at it, stayed persevering, and I made it happen for myself.
Where do you think that comes from? Why were you overlooked? Why were you overlooked?
I wish I knew the answer, but I don't.
Well, what would a victory over Katie mean? I mean, is that enough for you in your career, or at 31, have you still got several years left? Where are you with it all?
I'll go fight by fight, but for me, I think if I get the fight with Katie and I beat Katie, and then like what an achievement that would be. Like, I don't think you get bigger than that. But I think I've still got plenty of years left in me. But boxing's a hard sport, mentally draining as well. So yeah, I think it's fight by fight.
The bug is still there, though. The addiction is still there. Yeah.
Yeah, I love fighting.
It's brilliant to see you as always. I hope this gets over the line in the next couple of weeks, and we move on.
Done in 24 hours, so it's my side. I'm ready to go.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. Great to see you as always. Thanks for your time.
Bye.